Hey, welcome to another episode of the D&VShow. Today's episode is about a topic that is very close to my heart. It's about modern language, the intrusive nature of slang in day-to-day life that I see, and I've got some strong opinions there. And really what I think is the death of articulation. And so I'm going to start with a premise that I have, right? I think every single day that passes, our kids' ability to be articulate is getting worse and worse. I feel like my own ability to articulate is getting worse. And so what happens is language inherently exists, on a spectrum, right? So you've got words that are very complicated, and then you've got words that are like very simple. And most people kind of hover in the middle, right? You've got people like Shashi Tharoor who are going to be all the way at the end, right? Great. There's plenty of folks like that. And I don't even think Shashi Tharoor is that special. I think years ago, if you go back 50 years, you're going to find people that are just like him, and he's just a rare species today. But either way. So, but in this spectrum, I think what's happened is we've gone all the way here where things are so dumbed down now कि basically हर चीज़ में हम सामने वाले पे burden डाल देते हैं. तो मैं एक example देता हूँ. Just to fit in and make a point that, make these extremely broad generalizations about, oh, I'm just brown, that's because I'm brown, right? So essentially, what is the death of articulation? Are you trying to make the point that you are a person from Gujarat that has a Gujarati way of doing things, but you're labeling it as brown? Are you saying that you are someone from the north of India, or are you a Muslim from India that has certain ways of doing things, and you're referring to what you're doing and you're expecting people to basically figure that out? Or you basically are like, I'm going to give up all of those identities and I'm just going to mush this together, put a single label, let the other person make an assumption on what I meant. Folks that instead of trying to explain certain concepts, right, they'll basically just be like, you know what I mean? You get what I mean, right? What does that, like I sometimes play with people, what does that mean? What do you mean? Like, are you just choosing not to explain something, or do you not have the ability to articulate yourself, right? And so you're putting the burden on the listener, and what happens is over a period of time, you can have disagreements where you don't actually really understand what the disagreement is about. You may walk away with a different understanding of the concept. You go to a work where you might be working with people from all over the world, and you just don't have the ability to communicate as effectively, right? And I see this a lot. Even I am victim to this. I mean, I think my ability to articulate has dropped significantly over the last few years. Yeah, and we all blame it, right? Text messaging, social media, we get it, right? But how do we circumvent that? I can't think of a way. But I think it's going to be a grave loss maybe 50 years from now when we look back, and heck, our kids may not even be able to read the novels from 100 years ago because they'll just be like, this is way too complicated. What are all these words? Like, these don't exist in my vocabulary.
So your concern is basically we are slowly losing the beauty of our languages.
Yeah, and language is a core part of culture.
Yes.
Right? So I'm Gujarati. I've got a bilingual kid at home. It is difficult as is to teach my kid Hindi, Gujarati, obviously English, right? They'll learn Spanish in school here. That's 4 languages. On top of that, you've got this dilution of the language itself that's going on. And so the kids are just confused. You'll have a Hindi speaking kid here. They'll be like, yeah, today we went out in the gadi. What? Like, okay, you went out in the car. We went out in the gadi. So all they knew is that one word, and they fit everything else in English. Kids that have this foreign influence, right? They might be listening to brown influencers from the West that use this language, and now that language of referring to yourself as brown, talking in this manner is kind of making its way into sort of the culture of India in the big cities, and then it's going to obviously parse down, right?
But India mein, interestingly, regional languages are making a comeback, if you ask me.
Is it? Okay.
Yes. आप पहले social media देखोगे, news channel देखोगे. English was for elite class and all the media houses, NDTV, wo. Like they were the first one to get access to good interviews or foreign delegates, right? पर अभी मैं notice कर रहा हूँ भाई, even हिंदी न्यूज़ का जो ग्रेट एग्जाम्पल इज लल्लन टॉप. रीजनल लैंग्वेजेस आर मेकिंग कमबैक्स एंड ऑल्सो IPL में आप देखोगे 2-3 सीजन से देयर इज
like they've got 5-6 languages, commentary in multiple
every
languages.
language.
Yes.
From far, I feel like regional languages are making a comeback, and it's a good thing. I mean, in a way, it is tied to your identity somehow. Because I can speak Hindi, I can speak English, hopefully, and I can speak Hindi. But let me tell you honestly, when I listen to some of the Gujarati songs, or great example, when I speak Narendra Modi speak in Gujarati, I don't know, it feels different.
How many of those regional languages in India have some of the most foundational words in their evolution? What word do you use to refer to a camera, a phone,
That's true.
a television?
तो वो
Right?
तो हाँ.
Like these languages are not evolving. Like at some point, they've just stagnated. Those new words are not being added. Like you would have to be a professor to, even if the professor said certain things, a native Hindi speaker
English.
will in a big city of India, right? Forget the US. In a big city of India, उसको पता ही नहीं चलने वाला कि ये क्या बोल रहे हैं, राइट? इनफैक्ट हम लोग जोक बनाते हैं, राइट? ये गुजराती नाटक में कभी भी होता है ना, दे ऑलवेज हैव अ कैरेक्टर जो प्योर गुजराती या प्योर हिंदी या जो भी महाराष्ट्र नाटक हुआ था उसमें भी, एंड दैट्स लाइक कॉमिक रिलीफ ऑल ऑफ अ सडन. How is speaking your language in its purest form comic relief?
Yeah,
but that's my point.
Kind of.
Is so that's one, right? So here's the last point that I want to make today. I think this intrusive nature of slang is just everywhere. Like just today, I had an episode. मेरा लड़का है तो उसने कुछ किया था, right? तो वो बोलता है, I'm not going to tell this to nobody. I'm like, wait, that's a double. So my head is like, because remember, I went to a school where they'd beat the crap out of you if you ever said that, right? Because you're trying to learn English. So I was like, wait, that's a double negative. And he looks at me like, what do you mean you're wrong? I was like, no. If you say, I'm not going to talk to nobody, that means you might be talking to somebody? Or like, what is this? But apparently this is normal. And it's not even a Gen Z or a Gen Alpha or Beta thing, right? You hear this on television just quite normally. I mean, it's ridiculous.
I think it is something about pop culture and academic culture, right? Like, if I'm writing English, if I'm going to school, I would definitely write something and say something in a certain way. But if I live that area or vicinity, I'm a different person. And it's kind of social mirroring as well, right? अब जिसके साथ कई बार even I'm surprised, why am I talking like that? तो सामने वाला बंदा जैसे बात करता है ना, कई बार you do mirror it.
वो तो I mean we all speak slang है. बात ये नहीं है. बात ये है कि जो लड़के स्कूल में जाके इंग्लिश मीडियम स्कूल में जा रहे हैं यूएस में, उनका यहाँ पे कोई रास्ते पे कोई लड़का नहीं है यार. दिस इज नॉट, देयर इज नो स्ट्रीट ओवर हियर. लाइक आई डोंट लिव इन द हुड और एनीवेयर लाइक इन सम डाउनटाउन प्लेस ऑफ द यूएस, राइट? सो देयर इज नो एक्सपोजर. But you've got cartoons and official things like TV shows for kids where this language is the norm now,
used,
right? And I think over a period of time, what it does is it just dilutes the whole essence of. I mean, language is a core part of culture. मेरे लिए तो बहुत clear है, right? Like for example, जितने भी लोग हम लोग सब US वाले हैं यहाँ पे, हमारा एक ही point है कि हमारे बच्चों को अपनी language सिखाओ. क्यों? Not because कि वो language बोलेगा. More times than not उसको language की जरूरत ही नहीं है. वो language के through अपने culture से connect करेगा. तो अगर लैंग्वेज ही इतनी गंदी हो रही है और उसको डाइल्यूट कर रहे हैं, फिर वो इंग्लिश ही क्यों ना हो, हिंदी हो, गुजराती, कुछ भी हो. द पॉइंट इज एट सम पॉइंट तुम्हारा कल्चर भी उसके साथ अटैच हो ही जाएगा.
कि आप ऐसे बोल रहे हो कि भाई हम ऐसे क्लास से हैं और हम ऐसे बात कर रहे हैं, तो आप यू आर ट्राइंग टू काइंड ऑफ जज अस और मे बी लुकिंग डाउन अपॉन अस बिकॉज़ वी टॉक सर्टेन वे.
मैं वही बोल रहा हूँ, सब चीज के अंदर अगर स्टैंडर्ड रखोगे ही नहीं आप, or you are more focused on how people feel about something as opposed to an objective, not an objective assessment, but at least a standard, a benchmark, right? Like अभी बीच में हम लोग वो बात कर रहे थे, वो US में hearing था, right?
Can men get pregnant? She had a hard time.
To a doctor.
To a doctor. Probably a gynecologist.
Don't know, but anyway.
Yeah, maybe.
Right?
I think
words don't have meaning anymore.
Like how is that a difficult question?
I know, but even look at us. Even we say these things. You've got couples जो लोग बोलते हैं we are pregnant. मुझे पहली बार मैंने जब सुना था तो मैं लॉजिक वाला आदमी हूँ. So I'm just thinking, wait, what exactly are you doing to say that we are pregnant. Like, are you carrying the baby, you know, as the guy for like 9? Like, I don't remember like being. I feel like almost I'm taking away from the effort and the literal labor that my wife,
It's
went
kind of
through.
an insult to feminist movement if you think about it.
Regardless of the movement, right?
Yeah,
Like just if you and I were doing something and you did 99% of something at work for a project, and I say we did the project together, तू मेरे को देख के बोलेगा तूने क्या किया है?
I would not say anything publicly, but deep down I'll be like, really, dude,
वही
really?
ना, वही, I mean हम लोग टीम में है, लेकिन you're probably counting
There is another one,
points.
pregnant people. What does that mean? It used to be pregnant women.
वही है ना, ये लैंग्वेज का पूरा
We are
डायल्यूशन हो
losing,
गया है.
yeah.
मॉडर्न लैंग्वेज पता नहीं क्या बन
But
गया
again,
है.
like this is the generation of, people are being offended left and right. In the morning they wake up and feel like, how do I get
वही है.
offended?
Why are
But
you
it's a
offended?
larger problem than language then.
But that's what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
अगर तुम किसी को अपनी लैंग्वेज, अपने वर्ड्स, अपने आर्टिकुलेशन से डिफाइन करने दोगे, as opposed to maybe following, and yes, language does evolve. I get it. It's
Yeah.
never a static thing. It does evolve.
But we have to agree on something, right?
We have to
Some
agree on
things
something.
cannot change. It has
Exactly.
to be constant.
Exactly.
Otherwise, we have nothing.
हाँ, तो फिर आप बोलोगे ये ब्लू है, बोला नहीं मेरे लिए ये ग्रीन है. ओके, आपके लिए ग्रीन है. तो like at some point we'll run into complications, right? क्योंकि you'll walk away from a conversation thinking blue, I'll walk away from the conversation thinking green. फिर बाद में you'll get offended कि अरे नहीं ये तो blue नहीं ये green है, जो भी है.
अभी मैं आपको बोलूँ address me as a unicorn. That would be like.
Because that's what I'm saying. When you don't communicate effectively, you put the burden on the person listening to conclude what you meant, and that burden is my problem. Is over a period of time, it's going to hurt culture because language eventually makes its way into culture, and it defines culture.
In a way, you are imposing your terms and your language on other.
नहीं, लेकिन वो एक्सट्रीम केस मैं वही बोल रहा हूँ, हम वो एक्सट्रीम केसेस देखते हैं, लेकिन इट स्टार्ट्स विद दिस डे टू डे.
Yes.
Right? Like if you let your kid that is happens to be Indian, for example, refer to himself as brown all the time, as opposed to all of the hundreds of different unique qualities that he himself has, maybe his family has, maybe his ancestry has, maybe the things that his parents do. None of that matters. Skin color in that example, right? And it's not just about skin color. It could be anything, right? It could be like tall people, fat people, chubby guy, like anything.
Yeah, you're not allowed to say that anymore. You can't call me fat. I'm not fat.
I mean, I'm just saying, right? Because words don't have meaning anymore.
That's the world we live in. You can't call me fat anymore.
Yeah,
or I'll be
I'm
offended.
not trying to. Like,
you're
going to
hurt my feelings.
Yeah, but anyway, I think that was.
ये बहुत interesting topic है. Honestly, it kind of challenged us as well, in the real time. And I got challenged as well. Like, in a way, I agree with you. कि there has to be certain set of standards that we all agree on. If tomorrow, everybody is given permission to define words their own way, we don't have a language left.
Language is dead.
But there is the other side. कि भाई, if I impose my way of talking to others, there could be some cultural and social issues कि भाई जैसे मैं गुजराती my style of Gujarati is different from your Gujarati.
Exactly.
Because I speak Mehoni language a lot. I have those words.
Yep.
And growing up, there were people who were judging me for that. Like, तू अहमदाबाद में बड़ा हुआ, तू अच्छे घर से है, तो तू ऐसे क्यों बात कर रहा है? Which I found really offensive.
Which makes sense. Which is why the liberation of and the freedom to speak what you want is fine.
Yeah.
But what if you came to me and
that
said,
collides though. Yeah.
What if you refuse to talk in any other language, right? Or you said no, my way of speaking Gujarati is the only way of speaking Gujarati.
No, yeah, I wouldn't say that. But like there are people from Ahmedabad or they speak a polished Gujarati, and then I would they would make me look like something less because I cannot speak that way. And it's not like I cannot, I choose not to, because that is my identity. And it has been battled throughout the life. I have never changed and I'll never change. Yeah. And it is by design. It's not like I have some deficiency in language and I cannot learn the polished Gujarati, but I don't want to.
Yep. So, ये जो point है, right? And we'll end here. I want to make a very important point. ये point हमारे शो में you will see again and again. हम लोग किसी को ये करना है, वो करना है, ये करना चाहिए, वैसे नहीं है. लेकिन हम question ये है कि अगर वो ना करे, राइट, और नहीं करना चाहिए, तो कैसे हम इस चीज को बचा सकते हैं? बिकॉज आई कैन टेल यू, जो पाथ पे इंडिया की कोई रीजनल लैंग्वेज ले लो, इंग्लिश को ले लो, आपको जो लेना है ले लो, जो पाथ पे चल रहे हैं, राइट, all of these languages are getting diluted. The words don't mean much. Yeah, you've got this niche that is in academia that still maintains it, right? लेकिन एक दिन वो भी आएगा कि कोई इंग्लिश शो के अंदर यू विल सी समवन दैट इज स्पीकिंग वेरी पॉलिश्ड इंग्लिश और उसको कॉमेडिक एक्ट के जैसे दिखाएंगे, जैसे गुजराती नाटक में होता है या महाराष्ट्र नाटक में होता है, वैसे टाइप का है. So, क्योंकि इंग्लिश भी वही दिशा में जा रहा है. So that's my point, right? And I think it's just something for us, all of us, to think about. So, but either way, with that, we'll conclude here. Thank you again for watching. We'll see you in the next episode.
Thank you guys.
Bye.